Hello and welcome to the Minimum Competence episode for Monday, February 24th, 2025. I'm your host for today, Andrew Leahy, a tax and technology attorney from New Jersey. On today's episode, we cover the AP's fight to regain White House access, the SEC closing its Robinhood probe, and a judiciary warning over an unusual request from the Trump administration. Let's remember, nothing gives a fearful person more courage than another's fear, and read today's legal news. On this day in legal history, February 24th, 1803, the U.S. Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice John Marshall, issued its landmark decision in Marbury v. Madison, establishing the principle of judicial review. The case arose when William Marbury, appointed as the Justice of the Peace by outgoing President John Adams, sued Secretary of State James Madison for failing to deliver his commission. The court ruled that while Marbury had a right to his commission, the Judiciary Act of 1789, which granted the Supreme Court the power to issue writs of mandamus in such cases, was unconstitutional. By striking down this portion of the law, Marshall asserted that it was the judiciary's role to interpret the Constitution and invalidate any congressional acts that conflicted with it. This decision cemented the Supreme Court's authority as a coequal branch of government, ensuring that no law could override the Constitution. Though it limited the court's immediate power by denying Marbury his commission, the ruling vastly expanded its long-term influence. Judicial review has since been used to strike down dozens of laws in areas ranging from civil rights to executive power. The case remains a cornerstone of American constitutional law, shaping the balance of power between the branches of government. A federal judge is set to hear the Associated Press's request to restore its journalists' access to the White House after President Trump's administration banned them for continuing to use the name Gulf of Mexico instead of the infinitely dumber Gulf of America. The AP sued 3 senior Trump aides, arguing the ban violates the First Amendment by attempting to control the language journalists use in their reporting. The lawsuit seeks to reinstate AP's access to Air Force One and the White House press pool. White House officials dismissed the lawsuit as a publicity stunt, with Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt defending the administration's position. Trump signed an executive order renaming the Gulf last month, but AP continued using the traditional name while noting the change. Several press freedom groups and the White House Correspondents Association have condemned the ban. A hearing on the AP's motion for a temporary restraining order is scheduled for Monday in Washington federal court. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC for those in the know, has closed its investigation into Robinhood's cryptocurrency division without taking any action, the company announced Monday. Robinhood's stock rose 2.9% in pre-market trading following the news. The investigation began in May of 2024 when the SEC warned Robinhood that it could face charges for potential securities law violations related to its crypto operations. The decision comes shortly after the SEC dropped a separate lawsuit against Coinbase, another major crypto firm. The federal judiciary has advised judges and staff to ignore an email from the Trump administration requesting they report 5 accomplishments from the past week. The email, sent by the Office of Personnel Management, or OPM, as part of a broader government efficiency effort, was shared by Elon Musk on X before reaching federal employees. Judiciary officials said they would address the matter with OPM, but urged recipients not to respond. Legal experts criticized the request as a possible violation of the separation of powers, arguing that the executive branch has no authority over the judiciary. Some judges and clerks in Washington, D.C. and Texas confirmed receiving the email. Constitutional scholars warn that such an inquiry, particularly when federal courts are handling cases involving Trump's policies, could be an inappropriate intrusion by the executive branch. The request is part of an initiative to reduce government spending, which has already led to significant federal job cuts. And with that, and as always, I thank you so much for listening to Minimum Competence, your daily news podcast for lawyers. If you look for more than Minimum Competence, links to further reading on all the topics touched on today are in the show notes. And reviews go a long way towards helping new listeners to find our show. If you have a moment, leave a rating or review on your podcast player. We'd sure appreciate it. And if you know someone that might be interested in a story we cover, consider sending them the episode. But always remember, nothing here should be construed as legal advice because it is certainly not that. Minimum Competence is available at minimumcomp.com and wherever it is you get your finely crafted podcasts. If you haven't checked out the website in a while, give it a look. There are complete transcripts and resources for each episode and its corresponding segments, as well as an opportunity to receive new episodes in email, newsletter, form. We'll see you back here tomorrow, and until then, remember, the real hero is always a hero by mistake. They dream of being an honest coward like everyone else.